Hey, Metro Jones, how you doing? So nice to see you in here. So today on my interview, hey, Metro Jones, how you doing? How you doing? So nice to see you in here. Okay, that is so disturbing. Today on my interview, hey, Metro Jones, it's like my own little echo. Sorry, I'll talk that out. Today on my interview. Okay, little echo. Sorry. Okay, do you have me on YouTube still, Bill?
I just have the chat up. I don't have the
Okay, do you have me on YouTube still, Bill? So you got to silence YouTube.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
There we go. Okay, so
Right.
I feel better now because I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that was me
does
too.
it, and I do it every time.
I'm
Hey,
back, and I
do
hear
you
you
hear us?
guys. I hear you guys. Yep.
Okay,
Good.
okay. I'm making you a mod, Bill, the drone reviewer. Hey, Legwork, how you doing? Joseph, I'm so happy to see you. Hi. So today I am interviewing Bill, the drone reviewer, and I have questions. I have questions because of all the different things he does. Curtis Darth, welcome to the chat. So I am looking forward to having him. So I'm going to start at the beginning with Bill, the drone reviewer. So Bill, I want to get just a feel for how you were raised, where you were raised. And so where were you raised?
I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Spent first 20 years of my life there. 20, I'll say 21. My dad was a school teacher. My mother was a nurse. Just it was a very wonder. I couldn't have asked for better parents. They were older when they got married. Dad was well, when I was born, dad was like 35, mom was like 32, 33. And back then that was quite old to have a child.
That was.
It really was. And they both instilled a strong work ethic in me. Both of them, they both grew up during the Depression. So, it's, they knew the meaning of the value of a dollar. My mom would wash plastic bags from the grocery store and hang them up to dry to reuse them. And just very thrifty. To this day, it just, I still have memories of some of the things that they did to save money, which, and they were wonderful people. It was a treat to grow up with them.
So let me ask you about where are you age-wise?
I am going to be 61 this year.
Okay. So I'm going to be 60 this year.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. Getting over that hump.
Yeah.
But your parents, probably like my parents, were born to people who experienced the Depression. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Correct.
So I never forget my grandma come to see me and she saved every piece of cardboard, wrap it up. She'd do all that. And my dad wasn't much like that, but my grandma really, she could stretch anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Just really good at that and really believed in a strong work ethic, which of course my father also believed in. So coming up through that kind of work ethic, you kind of jumped over and you went into computers.
Right. I went to college over in Western Pennsylvania and I majored in computers and business. And it was kind of a, it was very interflexible. It was, and I got 2 degrees. A lot of people, were pretty amazed that I was able to get 2 degrees in a 4-year time frame. And right out of college, I got a job with, it's now long gone, Westinghouse Electric, doing programming with them. And I'll never forget my starting salary back in 1980 was $14,000 a year, and I thought, wow, I got it made. Especially when I looked at what my dad made in 1960, which was like around $6,000 a year.
Right.
It really kind of put things in perspective.
Oh wow! Oh wow! So you were making 14,000, and is that straight out of college?
Yeah, that was straight out of college. I had friend of the family was a director at Westinghouse Electric, and well, actually, was my uncle's nephew, and helped me get my land the job there. That really, it was nice to know somebody, because I got my foot in the door in IT, and I've been in IT for over 30 years, and really like the profession. Really like, I kind of switched roles, one from a programming role to a testing role, and I like that better because one of the big things is I don't have to carry a pager, and I don't get called in the middle of the night and all that
Right.
kind of good stuff. But I still am involved technically with things, and I really like that.
You know, my dad worked for years until he retired and went into his own thing for IBM. Yeah, when all those computers started, when all that became, you know, what it was. So in our family, we always had tech stuff,
Well, my
right?
uncle got in on the ground floor and was able to purchase IBM shares at like $50 a share before it just mushroomed, and he made a ton of money from that.
Yeah, IBM was, you know, they were always known for not laying people off and not everything I think has changed now,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh, definitely.
So you went to college.
Right. Went to
When did you meet
college.
your wife?
Well, I've been married twice. Okay.
Okay.
Wife number one, I was married for 26 years, and I met her at college, and we got married in 1981, divorced in 2007. 2008. I'm sorry. So it was not quite 27 years we were married. And I have 3 children. I have a 35-year-old son. I have a 32-year-old daughter who is expecting our very first grandchild the end of June.
Nice.
And I have a 25-year-old son.
Okay. So you have kind of kids just all, are you empty nesting?
Well, yes, Valerie and I, yes. Now, I met, you'll probably like this story. I had gotten divorced. Back in 2008, my personal life kind of, I won't say imploded, but I had everything happen at once. I had, within a 6-month time frame, my dad passed away.
Ugh.
I got divorced, and then I lost my job of 13 years.
Oh my gosh.
All within maybe 6, 7, 8 month time frame. And it was, a lot of people said, those are the kind of things that drive people, off the deep end. And instead of that, I just kind of focused on things that I needed to focus on. My faith's important to me, and that made a big difference. And my mom was instrumental because we kind of supported each other during this time frame. And I was able to. Now, I was living in Columbus, Ohio at the time, and it was about a 3.5-hour trip to Pittsburgh. So, I would make that trip frequently. I was unemployed for over 3 years, and I had applied for over 900 jobs. And also during that time too, I was dating, and I was looking, and it seems I would meet somebody, it would go well. And then, oh yeah, we'll go out again. And then it was just like, okay, the door got slammed shut. And I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? And I talked to some of my female friends, his friends, and they said, you're doing nothing wrong. Just keep doing what you're doing. Well, in December 2010, it was just hitting me. And all of a sudden it was like a bolt out of the blue. I really felt like the Lord was telling me, get off all these other, I was on, you name the dating site, I was probably on it. Okay. And
Right.
what I ended up doing was going back. There's a website called Christian Mingle. And I went on there, and within 3 weeks, I had met somebody in Tampa, Florida, whose name, and, I cajoled her into giving me her phone number, and we started talking an average about 4 hours a night.
Oh,
And then
wow.
3 weeks later, I flew down for the weekend on January 27th, and 15 days later, we got married.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Bill, when I look at you, you don't look like that guy.
Yep. 15 days later, we got married. And I'll tell you what,
You guys don't do that.
well, I'll tell you what, You know, my Val, you know, the best thing about her is, I mean, you look at her, she's drop dead gorgeous, but I didn't look at that. I was looking for here. I was looking for the heart.
Right.
You know, I had dated so many different kind of women and everything, but I never found one that had the heart. She had the heart, and I said, you know what? I can't live without that heart. I really can't.
Right.
So we went to City Hall. I came down February 11th or February 8th, got our marriage, applied for a marriage license, had to wait 3 days. February 11th, 2011, we got married, and I haven't looked back since, and neither has she.
Oh, nice. Oh, Bill, you're surprising. It must have been a match made in heaven because she was on board with you.
Oh
Right?
yeah, we were
At the right time.
she's within, I mean, what, she's 3 years younger than me, but you know, when you're the age that we're at collectively, you know, Val, you know, we know what we want, we know what we like, we know what we dislike, you know, we know what's gonna make us happy, we know what's not gonna make us happy, and she hit all the buttons. I mean, she really, there was no questions.
So, Bill, let me say hi to a few people in the chat.
Go for
and
it.
then we'll continue.
Go for
I'm
it.
so shocked, Bill, but I'm so happy for you. So we have Metro Drones in the house, Joseph Erickson, Legwork, Flying Miss Dan, Curtis. Let's see. We have Builder 710. I gave you a mod, so you'll be modded. Carpenter Rick, how are you doing tonight? Navis Quads. Bill, the drone productions, Jim Crennan, thank you so much for coming in. You guys are so great. Let's see. Paul Murray, I did send you a link, Paul, 3 times, but I don't know if you're getting it because I know we have troubles with that. I did say Jim Crennan, Phantom Flight 101, part of those guys. I was on there tonight. They were great. Let's see. I saw Novice Quads above and beyond global drones. Hey. And then we have, let's see, Mike Roach. I'm getting you for an interview. I'm coming for you, Mike. Be prepared. Let me see. Sorry, I had to tell him that. He has done some phenomenal stuff on YouTube recently. Just phenomenal. I hope I didn't miss anyone. If I did, believe me, it was not intentional. Yes. So okay, so you are a wild man, Bill. And I would have never thought that. I'm just still like, what a great story. So
well, you know, I surprised all of my I have a lot of friends from back in high school. I still maintain a good friendship with them back in the Pittsburgh area, and they were like, you know, and I have someone who I never had any brothers or sisters, but she's like a sister to me. She ended up selling my mom's house when it was time for that. And, you know, I was like so hot, super hush. The only people I told we were getting married were my kids, and they were like, yeah, right. I said, no, we're really getting married. Okay. And they said, wow, you really are. And what was real funny was I got a little story here. Because I dated so many people, okay, and the kids lost track of names. They just named every person I was going out with. They just named her Margaret, okay? How was Margaret tonight? Did you have a nice time with Margaret? Are you going to go out with Margaret again? Okay.
Oh my God.
When Valerie came up for the first time to meet them, and I was going to take and then meet the kids and then drive over to Pittsburgh and have her meet Mom, we faked them out. I said, guys, you won't believe this. I said, you have no idea what Valerie's middle name is. And they go, what? So you're not going to believe it. What? Margaret. They just lost it. Okay. They just totally lost it. They're like looking at me. They're really, and I go, no, it's Susan. I'm sorry. I'm just pulling your leg, guys.
Oh my God. That is so funny. I think, you know, when you get our age, I think you're right. You know what you want, you know what you don't want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you know if you find it and it's right inside, everything else just makes sense, right?
Oh yeah.
So tell me, what does Valerie? So it's going to be weird because I'm using my name, and I'd use her middle name, but that's my daughter's name. So, so what does she think about all the stuff you're doing?
Well, you know, and that's a great question, Val. She's on board 100% with me. When, you you know, anytime I go out to film anything, if it's of the drone itself or if it's of me flying the drone, she's taking the video. She's done that since day one.
Wow.
And when we went to the event in New York City, I told her, I said, there's better be 2 passes because you're going with me. And sure, you know, DJI gave us 2 passes and got her over there. I mean, she's equal partner in everything we do. Val, I have to say, you know, it's almost like, you know, people say, you know, are you ever apart? We go grocery shopping together. We go run errands together. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, when you find the love of your life, you want to be around them. You know, it's like,
Right.
you want to spend time with them because it's just like, you know, there's too much going on in the world, but you know, you need to do even the mundane little things. Spending time with each other means the world to me.
Right. Right. Oh, hi, Centroid. Saying hi to everybody in the CSI Metro, guys. You're so wonderful. Dad Random, thank you. Yeah, I think that's true. When you find your best friend, the person you're meant to be with, it's gonna be like that. At least I think it would be like that. And so tell me how, when you started this, tell me a little bit about your kids. What were they thinking when Dad said, "Hey, you know, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm not that you said this, but like I'm going to be a YouTube star or something." What were your kids thinking?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I had a YouTube channel on my main email account, and I'd had that for years. And it's just like I would post concert videos out there. I would do some other ones, and I got some hits and stuff, but I never really did anything as far as like a creator was concerned. So I created the channel, and I kind of blasted them, and I said, "Can you guys, you know, subscribe to the channel?" So, what's your channel about? And I told them, and they're like, "What? Drones?" I said, "Yeah, drones." I said, "Can you now?" Right before I started the drone channel, about a month earlier, I'd started Build a Technology Reviewer channel, and that
Oh,
is that's a sister channel. I don't post to that as much as I would like to, but you know, I do smartphones on there. I do some tech gear reviews, computers. You know, I did an audio cooling setup. I went through that and explained that. You know, I try to make it a little different. I kind of cross over some of the drone stuff, but not much. But I need to get out there and post some more. So, but with the kids, they were like, okay, well, you know what? We'll give it a shot. We'll like it here. And, you know, going out there and doing those first few videos, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? You know, I'm sicking myself out there. And people are gonna, like, you know, I hope they like it. I hope it works. And you know, I was actually fairly. I go back to my intro video. I actually think they were actually half decent.
so I watched your intro video. Was that your first one for that channel? The actual first?
Yes, that was the actual first video that I did.
It was really good, which is surprising because if you see my very first video, it was very bad. So I went out, I looked at it, and I thought, did he get rid of all his beginning videos? Is that what happened? Because you
Well,
got on there, you told them what they were going to see, you told them what the differences were. It
well, you
made
know,
sense.
one of the things that I did was when I started, I watched a guy called Sean Cannell, and he has several channels out there, and I really like him. And I kind of did an in-depth study before I really went live. Like, for instance, you know, he recommended, for example, Canva to use for thumbnails, and I followed that. You know, some of them, you know, recommend microphones, cameras, that kind of thing. And, you know, I really followed him very close, and I still follow him fairly closely. And I just finished it. Well, I'm not finished. I'm on getting ready to film part 4. It's how to start a YouTube channel. And
Nice.
these are things, you know, it's still kind of geared towards, you know, drones content, but still it's anybody could kind of use this. And one of the things that I wish I had knew, I wish somebody had told me, you know, you should probably start like a Facebook page and a Facebook group and Twitter and Instagram to support this, because it's kind of like self-feeding. Like when you get people out there on YouTube, you know, or on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, you can drive them to YouTube, and you know, it kind of self-perpetuates. And nobody had told me that. And that's one of my pieces of advice is, you know, before you even start your channel, go out and start a Facebook group, a Facebook page, Twitter account, Instagram, and build those up for a month or so before you actually even go out and film your first video for YouTube.
I got to tell you, I think that's good advice. I did try that, and it was, I got to tell you, putting so many hands in so many different pies. I mean, it's the same pie, but there's so many pieces. It's hard for me to keep up with all that. How do you keep up with all that?
That's a great question. What I do is, I've made a number of my friends admins on these groups. You probably have heard of Steve Carpenter.
Yep.
Everybody's heard
Yep.
of Steve Carpenter and Rick Halber. Well, Steve's an admin on almost all those groups that I have out there.
Nice.
A lot of my friends are Bill Thomas, Ron Brown. These guys, they love to do that stuff, and it's easy. I don't get a lot of what I call bad stuff in these groups.
Mhm.
I don't get, they know enough to kick people out that are running ads or, and I told people, I said, look, I says, here's my big thing. And I just got this, and it seems to be, I get a lot of this every once in a while. Some people will post things about, oh, I flew like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 miles with my drone today. And I'm like, wait a minute, guys, time out. There's nowhere that I know of that's okay to do that. Okay. And what I do is, and I'll post it and I'll pin it up there, and I'll say, you know what? It's not, everybody says, well, you're a dictator, and I said, no, guys, I'm not the dictator. Okay. Call the FAA. All right. Or whatever it is up in Canada, the Civil Aviation Authority, call them and tell them to change the rule, because you know what? This group abides by the rules here. Okay. That's how we do it. I mean, that's usually the only kind of problems I have with those groups, but it's a great exchange of ideas. And one of the big reasons why I also started the groups were, you go out to the forums, like there's a Mavic Pilots forum and a Phantom Pilots forum and the other ones, you got to have thick skin, because if you don't ask the question the right way, you're going to get, chopped apart big time. And that's why I didn't want to have that in these groups. And they aren't. People have been great in these groups.
Oh, good. Because I was going to ask, with that many groups, we see what happens on YouTube when people get a little tweaked about things, right? We
Mhm.
see what happens to other people's channels and what's going on. And it seems like, I would think the more I got into more different things, hey Kim, the worse it might get. Hey, proper FPV. And I have pretty thick skin. I'm gonna tell you, I believe people need to be who they are and do what they do, and it's okay, but not necessarily in my stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think once we
Oh, yeah.
define what we want, that's when things can get a little tricky. Night Train, I see you. So, yeah. So, what do you do when you start finding that things aren't meshing well?
Are you talking about the channel or?
Yeah, the Facebook
Oh,
and
okay.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
With that, what I start to do is I take a step back for a minute, and I don't have, one of the things that somebody had taught me along the way, and I think I maybe saw it from Sean Canellis, don't have a knee-jerk reaction to things, because 9 times out of 10, when you do have that knee-jerk reaction, something good's not going to happen of it. Okay. It's just not going to happen,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's why you take that step back. It's kind of like the exhale and breathe kind of thing. And that's what I do. I take a step back, I exhale, I breathe, and I look at it. And one of my big criteria is this. Number one, is it against the law? Okay. Is that something that's, and if it's not against the law per se, I mean, it really, truly, I'll let stuff go. I mean, with stuff like that. And, and some guys will get carried on in these comments and stuff, and it just starts going and going and going. And, sometimes I'll shut comments off, because it gets out of hand, especially, if they get vulgar or profanity or stuff like that. It's just like, no, guys, that's not going to happen here. Okay.
Yeah, because I think that sometimes when you go to say something, they can, and a lot of times they're just having fun.
Yeah.
Even though it seems like, right, they're going, I wonder if I touch this, if it'll burn some or burn my finger, and I'm just going to poke here. And it's just really a lot of fun. And it's sometimes discerning between we're having fun and now we're not can be a difficult
Yeah.
thing. So let me ask you, so your kids have been completely supportive?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, they've been, they're like, well, they. It's interesting. My older son finally has his first very serious girlfriend at age 35, which is great.
Yeah.
And she has, and I'll tell you what, I told my Val, I said, you know what, he needs a good woman to straighten him out. She's got him on a budget. And he's disdained being on a budget his entire life until this woman's been fantastic. Well, they were going to come down at Christmas. They didn't have a chance to, but they got me a drone ornament for Christmas. They went together and they got a nice drone ornament. I still don't have it yet because they didn't have a chance to come down, but it was wonderful that they're thinking about me. And, they let me know about that too. I mean, when I had them both down, when I had them both down, my two sons and my son's girlfriend were down last January, and they had my son's girlfriend had never seen a drone in live before. I says, hey, I can oblige you. So I took it up. But one of the things that I did was, and I said, I'm going to talk to you, but I'm not going to be looking at you. I'm going to be watching the drone because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And and I actually filmed a video on that. It's like how to fly when you're distracted. And people really like that video because, it's like you can still engage in conversation, but your number one focus still needs to be on flying the drone. Because if you're not focused on that, bad things can happen. And I'll share a little story. Easter the year before, my wife's family comes over. Okay. They're all over the house and said, will you have a drone? Why don't you? I said, sure. Okay. So I obliged. It was my Mavic Pro, had it up. And I was like, okay, well, I hit this button. It does return to home. Now I wasn't watching the screen. I was watching them. Okay. And I hit the land button on the app, not the return to home button.
Oh,
there's a big lake behind us. It was about 10 feet off the lake before my wife's nephew says, hey, Bill, I think it's going to go in the water. And I saw that. I hit the throttle up and got it back up in the air.
oh my God.
Oh, yeah. And there's no video of that, which I kind of wish I did because that would have been that would have made a good video. But no, I don't have any video of that.
See, your experience with your children were slightly different than my experience. My kids were like, why would you do that? Don't do that. Mom, don't do that. You don't belong on YouTube. Oh my God, am I going to have to hide? Oh no, I'm not going to have to hide because no one's going to watch you. And I went through that for about 6 months. And then finally, my son came home from school and he had a long list of things I could improve. And he started going through all the things I could do to improve that might make a difference for me. And I got to tell you, it was a little bit different. My family all thought I was crazy. How come you're so supportive, family? How did you do that?
I have great kids. I have a great stepdaughter too, by the way. Valerie has a daughter, and
Nice.
it's kind of nice. It really does help when you're supported when you're doing this. It makes a big difference, especially when early on. My first 6 months to a year. Boy, I was getting you need to step to this side. You need to speak clear. You need to get a new microphone. You need. That was like every other comment was a you need on there.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? My kids are very supportive now, but I think you think by now they'd be used to me doing things that are a little bit different than other moms maybe. My oldest son is 37. My daughter's 29. She's actually doing a trek across Italy right now. And then my youngest son just got his first attorney job, and he is 26. So they're all doing great, but they just don't understand why I don't follow in their footsteps. Because I'm like, I always dance in my own drum.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. Here's my thing, and this is one of the things that somebody had told me years ago. if it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical, or, you know, goes against your belief system, do it.
Right?
Do it. You know, and that's, you know, and here's YouTube. I mean, here's an opportunity for you to do something, to be able to express yourself. You know, it's if you don't go out there and try, you never know. You never know.
Right. And I think that at this age, at the age we are, because we're just almost the exact same age, to just keep evolving within our lives, evolving, learning, moving. It's just what a beautiful thing. I mean, that we're afforded to be able to do this stuff. But I need to know, what are you doing now? Are you just doing YouTube?
Well, as far as, well, you know, my job in IT keeps me pretty busy. I'm there, you know, 45 plus hours a week. It really does. It really does kind of keep me busy. And then, you know, it's just the two of us here. So, you know, weekly chores, doing things. I mean, I do the laundry. I do some cooking when my wife lets me, and she enjoys it. You know, I clean the house. You know, weekends, you know, we try to knock stuff out like one day, and the other day we try to have a day to ourselves, and, you know, maybe go out, get something to eat, go somewhere, just do something, just get out of the house, kind of a thing. You know, it really, you know, between that, and then, you know, when I come home each night now, you know, I have my live shows on Tuesday nights, and I have one Sunday afternoon a month that I'm on, and I kind of skipped April. I'm going to be doing a couple in May. Now, you know, not only YouTube, I'm also doing podcasts now. Build Your Own Reviewer podcast, and I have about 11 of them. But what I've done is, with some of my live shows, I've just converted it over to a podcast, and it's real easy. Podcasts are hard to set up, but super easy to do. I mean, you could not believe how easy it is. And I'm set up on iTunes. I'm set up on Google Play. I'm set up on Spotify.
Oh my
And
God.
I use a thing called Podbean, like Coffee Bean, and they're a great host. It takes a while to set it up. It took me a whole day to get this set up. But I mean, once I got it set up, I was able to import my graphics and logo and all that stuff.
It's so funny. It takes no time. It took me a day. You know what it'd take me? I'd be here crying to Roger a month later going, Roger, Bill said it'd only take a day. Because things don't work for me like that. But you know what? You're so impressive, because you have all this stuff going. And when I watch your reviews, when I watch what you're saying, you're articulate, you get to the point, and you do it beautifully, very professionally.
Thank you. You know, that's the big reason why I started the channel. And I was on Curtis's show last night, and I love Curtis and Drone Owners Network, and fantastic. And you know, I'm looking forward to getting on there some more with them. But one of the things that they asked me last night was, you know, why'd you start the channel? And I said, you know, one of the big things was, you know, I love some of the reviews that are out there. Okay. Now, for instance, one of my favorite reviews of all time is from Ed Ricker. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was on the Mavic Pro. It has like 1.5 million views. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And it's such a detailed, in-depth review of the original Mavic Pro. Well, I use that kind of as my guide, my Bible, so to speak. You know, when I find out, oh, I want to do a gimbal calibration, or oh, I want to calibrate the compass, or, you know, want to make sure that the gimbal's okay. You know, everything was in there. Okay. Now it's about a 25, 30-minute video. It's a long video. It's not a short one. And I said, you know what? I had to fast forward to find what I needed in the videos. And I said, I'm going to do something a little different. Okay. I'm going to put together a channel where I'm going to give you your information that you need right away. That, you know, if we're going to do, I'll just focus on like one subject. Let's call it gimbal calibration for the Mavic Pro. Okay. I'm going to show you how to calibrate your gimbal and just be done with it, or how to access internal storage in your Mavic 2 Pro. All right. I'm going to get out there, do it, and be done. And this is why my videos, I think, have caught on, and why I've gotten a lot of subscribers, because I get to the point, you know, and trust me, okay, I love the videos like what Ed does, Billy Kyle does them, Original Dobo does them. I mean, they do these great detailed explanations, and I absolutely love them. But for me, you know, I want to be able to give people something because what's the main objective here? The main objective is to get you outside so you can fly, not so you're sitting inside watching YouTube videos all day.
Right.
Get your solution and get out there and fly.
My dog's coming in here. Sorry.
Mine just came in too. She visited me in here.
Yeah, my saint doesn't like being all alone, so she wants to come in and spend time with me. So I watched your intro and you've really stuck to where you started. Now I watch Sean Cannell. I'm doing his VR Academy, rank stuff, and I'm doing that. And I've had it for a while, but then I started live streaming. It didn't seem to pertain as much to that. So I'm starting over, with what I need. But who else do you watch that helps you?
Pat Flynn. I don't know if you've heard of him or not.
I haven't.
Okay. Of all people, my manager at work, who my manager subscribed to my channel. He watches my videos, believe it or not. But he suggested Pat Flynn, and Pat's a great guy too. He has a lot of great ideas about YouTube, about things that you need to do to help improve your channel. One of the other guys that I have to be in the mood to watch him, but he's very informative. But again, he has a lot of fluff. Daryl Eves. I don't know if you've heard of him or not.
I've heard of Daryl Eves, Tim Schmoyer.
Schmoyer, yeah. I mean, these guys are great, but it's like you got to kind of sift through some things and be able to find the material that you're looking for. One of the big things that Daryl Eves turned me on to was TubeBuddy. And I think TubeBuddy is a huge asset, especially like when you're looking for keywords to use and tags. It's fantastic. It really does a great job, and I think it's a very useful tool. And you're talking about live streaming. Live streaming is a whole different beast compared to just doing regular content. Because one of the things that everybody says, well, live streaming, it's going to kill your channel. It's going to kill your channel. Well, you know what? People come to Canadian Drone Hub. People come to your channel. People come to mine because of my live stream, because they like it, because they get information that they're looking for. And, and it's kind of like like I've always said, when I'm talking about Canadian Drone Hub, get a cup of coffee, sit down, relax with Roger and Paul and Val and everybody, and enjoy your time on there. And that's the kind of atmosphere that I want to kind of continue and propagate. Only in the evening, kind of a thing. Bring your beverage, sit down, and relax and watch.
And let's talk. Yeah. So really quick, I want to say hello to a couple of people that came in. We have Yorkshire Drone Solutions, Crags. Of course, Paul Mary's on the panel with me. Thank you, Paul. Centroid is on. We have Rolex. Hey, Ireland, how you doing, Rolex? Dad Random, Metro Drone, you are the sweetest person ever. Thank you for that super chat. We have Dad Random, Plummet. Hi, he's one of our FPVers that I interviewed a while back. Idaho Quadcopter, you know what? I am so happy to see you. I haven't known where to go fly, and I've been wanting to fly more. And not just in my backyard, but everything has those big circles around it on my UAV map. So I've been watching you, and I think I have some ideas now. So thank you, Idaho Quadcopter. We have Geeksylvania. Am I missing anyone? IVE, hi, how you doing? We are interviewing Bill, the drone reviewer, and he is giving us a lot of great information. So, Phantom Hunches, hi.
Paul, can you say hi? See if I can hear you.
Hello.
No, I can't hear him. Okay, I'm gonna go back out. I'm gonna come back in.
Oh, okay. So, and we have UK Momo, Orlando, hi. The Good Troll. I missed you, Good Troll. I haven't seen you for a while. Thank you for coming in. So I have a DJI question for you.
Sure.
So I went on DJI, and they are giving me a lot of mixed messages. On one hand, they say they're not coming out with the new Phantom, and they're not canceling the Phantom. But if you go in on their site and say, hey, I'd like a Phantom Pro, they say, sorry, no longer making those. So are they making Phantoms or are they not making Phantoms?
That is a great question. And, I spent a little time yesterday on Canadian Drone Hub talking about this. Now, yesterday, and I would say no, Friday, Hey Kesteloo from Drone DJ put out an article, actually put out like a series of 3 articles. And it really kind of talked about the Phantom line and whether or not it's going to be continued and all this good information. And here's my take on this, Val. I think, number one, I think the reason I think that we're not seeing Phantoms right now is, if you guys remember, DJI had a problem with internal fraud. And I think the problem with the internal fraud, what they were saying, is dealt with their parts suppliers. And I think it really affected the Phantom line more than the other lines did. So they had to go out and they have to reacquire new parts suppliers who they can trust, who's not going to, because what was happening was these parts were getting sold like 3 or 4 times at their cost, and it was horrible. They had like a $10 million loss. I mean, it was a pretty big loss for them. Not catastrophic, but big. So I think they're reacquiring new parts suppliers. So I think that's why we're not seeing the Phantoms being made, the other Phantoms beside. Now they're making the Phantom 4 RTK, the mapping drone, which really, that's a very specific type of niche there. Niche, is Sean Cannell calls it. That's a very specific. It's for people who are surveyors. I mean, not all of us are going to be surveyors. What I think is going to happen, and I know Paul asked me this question. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. What I think is going to happen is you're going to find, because the market right now is kind of geared towards people really like the Mavic 2 Pro, the portability, and zoom, the portability of that. And they still like the features of the Phantom. And I think we're going to see something that's going to kind of like meet in between. It's going to be best of both worlds. You're going to have the capabilities of a Phantom, but you're going to have the portability of a Mavic. And I also think, and it was my opinion, and I expressed it yesterday, I majored in business. And one of the things that you spend a lot of money building up a brand name. For instance, Nike. Okay. You hear the name Nike, boom. What do you think of? Okay. Or if you see the words Coca-Cola, okay, you know what it is. I mean, it's instant recognition. And I think when you see the iconic image of a Phantom, okay, you know what that is. And I think DJI is not going to get rid of the name Phantom. I think they have, there's a lot of good marketing with that. But what you're going to see is a totally new Phantom, okay? And the totally new Phantom, like I said, it's going to be a cross between a Mavic, Mavic 2, and a Phantom 4. You're going to see something that's going to probably maybe have folding or retractable legs, or is compact, is something that you could carry in a backpack.
So Novice Claus said, so is Bill saying they're going to make a hybrid like a Favic instead of a Phantom and a Mavic, a Favic? Oh my guys, that is so funny. I'm going to close my door, guys. Be right back. Paul, can you?
Hi, Paul.
Bill,
Hey, Paul.
I think you're right on, Bill. They're going to come up with a new hybrid.
I don't hear them, guys. I'm going to go back out.
Because it's time for them to the 2-year cycle, which you study business, the 2-year cycle. It was 2 years ago they came out with the Mavic. Then they came out with the Mavic 2. And the Phantom 4, I think, came out, what, 4 years ago?
4 years, yeah, 4 years.
4 years ago. And then they upped the game. They had the Mavic Pro, then the Mavic Pro Plus, and so and the Phantom, they did the Phantom Pro, the Phantom Pro Plus, and so it's going to be something that still is going to carry that name somehow, but it's going to be uniquely different.
100%, Paul, 100%. Because that name really, that conjures up just a lot of positive vibes, if you want to have, for DJI. I mean, it's instant recognition. Hearing like Nike, hearing Coca-Cola, and you hear DJI, and what do you think of instantly? You think of the Phantom. I mean, that's what everybody thinks of.
And the other thing too, Bill, is the trend amongst what I see the younger new people coming into the drone market is they don't want to have the big bulky copter to get the same thing. That's why they like the little folding ones and tuck it in a backpack, because they're the future of droning.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like, when I went up for my daughter's wedding 2 years ago, I brought the Spark with me. I didn't even think about taking the Mavic Pro because I could have brought the Mavic Pro. I had the case for it and everything, but you know what? It fit in my bag, my travel bag. It was easy to carry, and it did the purpose. It did the job that I wanted it to do, because I took some photographs of, they had an outdoor wedding. I took some photographs of the area after the rehearsal, and nobody was there. So it was easy to use, but it was compact, easy to use, and it was great. I didn't need 4K. 1080p was fine for me for my purposes.
Right.
So, Good Troll, thank you for coming in. I always love seeing you. So that's good. So the Mavic Zoom and Pro 2 had taken over. So, okay, so I had to step away. So I think, are we saying that they're going to probably keep the Phantom, but it's going to evolve again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now I got confused in one of your videos.
Okay.
That's not a big leap for me. It was about the Spark 2.
Okay.
A little while ago, you came on and you said there was going to be a Spark 2, and then you came back on, and I may have this wrong, and you said, oh, now they're saying they don't have an announcement in April, right? Am I remembering that? And then yesterday, or it was today, your last video said there was going to be a Spark 2. See, that's where I got a little confused.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
What we found out last week on Coast to Coast Drones, we had Rick Smith, Drone Valley, on, and he's under a non-disclosure agreement. So there's some things he can and cannot talk about. All right. Well, the first question that we asked, and I know I talked about this 2 weeks ago. There's talk about a DJI Action Cam, and there's also talk about a DJI Osmo Pocket Pro, a 1-inch Osmo Pocket. Okay.
Right.
Now, what Rick is under the non-disclosure agreement for are cameras. Okay. He could talk about drones. He couldn't talk about cameras. So this leads me to believe that the next event is solely just going to be a camera type of event. Whether it's the Action Cam or the Osmo Pocket Pro. I don't know, but I think, we're going to see the Spark 2 is coming, because it's reached the original Spark has reached its what I call end of life cycle. There's nothing they can do to enhance that current architecture the way it is. It is what it is. And with some tweaks that I talked about, and I just put a Spark video out on Friday, and I went back and I revisited what Ositolev had done, and I actually got some people, why do you go back to him? Why do you talk about him? Well, I don't think he was very far off with what he was talking about as far as upgrades are concerned, because obviously, we'll be looking at a 4K camera, probably a little bit better of a gimbal assembly up front, probably, new quieter props and new ESCs, probably some tweaks with the battery, maybe a rear sensor back there, because I know a lot of people crashed their Sparks when they were backing them up. Just some tweaks there, because the whole idea with a Spark is they want to keep the price down. All right. Because, believe it or not, people are attracted to DJI, not only from the top end, but from the bottom end. The bottom end is what gets people in the door. And, what we had talked about, I talked about this on the channel, and I talked about this on Coast to Coast Drones too, is there are drones like the Hubsan Zeno that are around $250, $300 right now. The Xiaomi Z8 is coming out, and I think that's around $400. These are starting to nip at the heels of DJI, because they want to be. DJI wants to be numero uno. They want to be top dog in all their segments, and that's why this is the perfect time to come out and to do one. Now, I would not be surprised if this is a camera only event. However, I would not be surprised if maybe about another month or so down the line, you'll see that Spark 2, because when they originally came out with it, it was 2 years ago in May. It was May 23rd, 2017 when they came out with it. So, that timing is right. The cycle is right. And I see that probably happening maybe June, maybe July, that they'll come out with a Spark, because that summer season really can get a lot of people as far as sales are concerned.
And the flip side of that is what people need to remember. If a company as big as DJI decides to put those little tweaks in there, like you mentioned, they can get it done very cost effective. Where if you and I were to do it, Bill, it'd cost us big bucks.
Mm-hmm.
But they can make those little tweaks just in a spec change on a motor, on an ESC, and on a shell, about whether it's going to have rear facing a collision avoidance sensors and those types of things, or a gimbal. Just say, okay, I want this gimbal changed, and you were talking about just a few dollars, and they can step the game up for very little cost. Where in our minds, the people out here saying, "Oh man, that costs $300-400 to do that." No, not when you're producing those many.
What is your answer to the question Rolex is posing? It's not really a question, he's just making a statement. DJI is not going to bring out a Spark 2 because it will kill the Mavic Air.
No, I disagree with that. The Mavic Air is totally different. It's a totally, I mean, you're talking a $499 drone versus a $799 drone. Those are two different drones completely.
And one foldable and one non-foldable.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the thing too is, and I think Paul will probably agree with me, is part of the structural integrity of the Spark is that it doesn't fold. Because I've known a lot of people who have crashed their Sparks and have really, it going on at full tilt. And, there was mud and dust and dirt on it, but they got them back up, cleaned them off, and they were ready to go. I mean, that thing is rock solid. I mean, it's like a solid built drone. Yep, exactly.
Because I've seen videos too where they tested them and they ran them at full speed into a big tree trunk. Boom, goes down to the ground, and they look at it, might have a couple of scuffs here and there, and off they go again.
Yep.
You do that with a Mavic Air. You do that with a Mavic Air, and it's game over.
Carpenter Rick is saying the arm broke right off my Spark. There's always an exception, Carpenter Rick, to the rule. So my next question is, there's a lot of hype around the Osmo. And we also have a new tech toy, which is the Hero 7. I saw a comparison of both of them. And I thought the Hero 7 kind of won that comparison. But I think the Osmo may be selling more.
You're right. I mean, Ron Brown, and you may have seen, he just did a video of, he and his wife were down in the area in Florida, and I had a chance to fly with him and got to meet his wife. We had a wonderful evening. We went out to the beach and got a beautiful sunset and got one of an abandoned pier. Well, Ron had his GoPro 7 with him. And I think what the GoPro Hero 7 is known for more than anything else is that image stabilization. You can be bouncing up and down. I mean, it has the image stabilization that is built inside there is phenomenal. It's second to none. And I think that's its hallmark. And I think also too, out of the box, the sound that you get from it is good. It's something you wouldn't, you should have an external mic, but you know what? You can get away with not having one. However, with the Osmo Pocket, that's a different story. They finally came out with the attachment for that external mic for it, which was sorely needed. That was something, I mean, everybody, 9 out of 10 people were complaining. I mean, unless you were inside, if you were recording audio outside, you needed that external mic adapter. And now that that's come, I think that's really kind of been a game changer for them. And the whole idea, when you think about it, you think of the size of the Osmo Pocket. Literally, I mean, you could put it in your shirt pocket. You can put it in like a side pocket in your pants, and it's there. It's ready. And it's super easy to use.
Well, and plus its application too, Bill. The Osmo is made to just as small form, put in your hand and use,
Mhm.
where the Hero is a universal, mounted on your head, mounted on your shirt pocket, on your chest, put it on an aircraft, and you would never do those kinds of things with an Osmo Pocket.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I've actually seen some people get some Velcro and put an Osmo Pocket on a drone. So yeah, that was a little interesting.
Sketchy.
Yes, for sure.
Welcome. Of course, we have the Idaho quadcopter, Rolex, Furball's in the house, Dad Random. Dronography, OOO is in the house. Dronography, Oliver. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, okay, Bill, I have more questions, but the hour's up. Can I ask some more? Or do you need?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah, I'm fine. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so for a blogger,
Okay.
do you feel like the Osmo is the better choice now that they have the mic adapter? Or do you think still it's being carried a little more about the Hero?
I think the value for the dollar with the mic adapter, I think that makes the Osmo Pocket a game changer. I really do. So yeah, I think for a vlogger, it's so much easier to get out and use. So with the external mic adapter, yeah, I would say that would be a choice, good choice for a vlogger.
Because I'm going to tell you that Osmo is sweet. I love it. I saw Philly drone. Philly, are you in here? No, I don't think he is. But I'll say it anyway because I would. He was holding his Osmo out a window, and I was like, "Child, get that back in the window." I was having a fit while I was watching that. Oh, fun fact, just purchased yesterday Osmo Pocket, and it's killing me to hear that there is a possibility of an Osmo Pro that might come out. So are we, Bill, expecting an Osmo Pro?
Well, let me say this to Orlando here, okay? And it's something that I've heard a lot of other drone reviewers say, that the best camera or the best drone that you have is the one that you already own, or the one that you're going to buy. If it's something, if it's a need, you qualify a need versus a want here. All right, let's say you need an Osmo Pocket for your job. All right, get it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait, because you don't know what's, DJI could change their mind for some ungodly reason. Who knows? But what we heard, and we talked about it, we had Curtis Dart from Drone Owners Network on, and we're the very strong opinion. Now, I know, and I'm good friends with Russ, 51 Drones. He's out in Iowa. Great guy. Absolutely love his channel. He's of the opinion, well, he's not of the opinion, he's just about guaranteed that it's going to be a DJI Action Cam. And I said, there's kind of two schools of thought here, but our school of thought, when, with Curtis, and when we talked about it with Randy and Tommy Polo and Bill Thomas and Ron Brown and I, when we talked about that, the 1-inch sensor is a game changer. And I believe that they're going to go ahead and do this. Everybody saying, well, why are they doing this like right after having just put out an Osmo Pocket in November? And I said, you know what? Look here, I'm going to tell you something. Look at DJI's history. All right. The Phantom 3, let's use that as an example, and then, they come out with the Advanced, and then they come out with the Pro, and, oh, okay, I got a Phantom 3, and then, and an Advanced comes out. Well, I'm kind of hosed, aren't I? Well, here's the thing. All right. You got it. You enjoy it. You use it. You can always sell it and upgrade and get another one here. And this is the same thing. People are just like, oh, well, I got it. And I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, you know what? If you feel that strongly that you need to wait for one, go ahead and do it. But there's no release announcement yet. There's no date. There's nothing as far as that's concerned. So, get an Osmo Pocket, enjoy it. That's my word to like people like Orlando. Get out there and enjoy it. I mean, it's fantastic.
See, I'm kind of hoping that they come out with another one, because when they do, it always makes the other prices go down.
Yes.
The Osmo is so far out of what I can do, but if they release one It'll still be a little far up for me, but it gets closer and closer. I'm just like, keep bringing this out.
It's calling you, Val. It's calling you.
Oh, you were so bad. You were so bad. Oh,
Good
does.
job, Paul.
Me, it sings to me at night. Oh, oh. So where do you think, okay, so where is then the Hero 7, where is its niche if the Pro came and just turned it all around?
I think it's more of you really truly a action cam. You know, if you're out there, if you're a biker, if you're jogging, if you're hiking, you know, outdoors, you know, if you're exposed to water a lot, I think that's the kind of camera that you're going to get. You know, I've seen the GoPro Hero 7 get abused like nobody's business and come out, you know, shining. And that's what that camera is good for. That camera is a fantastic, I'll call it outdoors action camera. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
When it's not necessarily a vlogging camera. The Osmo Pocket, that's a vlogging camera. I mean, you know, if you're going to an amusement park, you're going out for a nice hike in the woods, not this rugged mountain hike. Okay, you're going out
a walk downtown, or
exactly,
or a wedding, or a reunion, or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, that's the kind of perfect that camera's for. It's just absolutely perfect for that. Or, you know, I know a lot of guys who have done drone reviews and they filmed it on the Osmo Pocket.
Yep.
That's the stuff I'm starting to see. They've been doing they've been doing whole videos and everything just with the Osmo. Was it who went on vacation? Was it you, Centroid? No, it was someone else. They did the whole thing. It was Robert Stanton, Juneau County. He did his whole Osmo Pocket. He filmed his whole parts of his vacation on that. It came out really nice. Bill the Drone Reviewer is correct. The Hero 7 is an action camera. The Osmo Pocket is a vlogging camera. So I'm going to say they need to make one that hits everything. Didn't make it a Cinewhoop. So, hey, JDS. Okay. So now you don't have a Spark 2. You have the regular Spark. So out of all your drones, and I'm sure you answer this all the time, what is your favorite one? Or do you have different ones? Well, for different things, probably.
Well, you have to pry the Mavic 2 Pro out of my cold dead hands. It's I'll be honest. I just got a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. I think Paul knows that. I'm doing a comparison series, and I have a little boxing theme with that, and people love that. By the way, I'm kind of playing off, in this corner and in this corner, weighing 1,375 grams from Shenzhen, China. But I'll tell you what, every single time, Val, the Mavic 2 Pro never ceases to amaze me. Today, I'll give you a little preview on one of my next tests. I did a battery test. Okay. Now, a battery test can be any way you look at it, it's kind of boring. Okay. Because, one thing I didn't want to do, because I've seen battery tests before where you launch the drone, it's up 20 feet in the air, and you let it sit until it gets to 20%, and then it lands, okay? I didn't want to do that. So what I did was the lake by where I live, from the back of my house to the corner of the lake's 2,500 feet. So I made that trip, 2,500-foot trip back, until I got to 25% with each battery, okay? That took me about a good hour to do that. And what I did was, in order to kind of make the path similar, I used return to home, but I canceled it right when it was over home. And then I would turn the drone around and send it back out and send it back and forth. But, that's one of the tests that I did. But it seemed to me, and I have to look at the data, but it seemed to me that the Mavic 2 Pro probably edged out the Phantom 4 Pro as far as the time and also the range is concerned, which really, that kind of surprised me a little bit, because I thought the battery specs, were kind of like right there. But yeah, that Mavic 2 Pro, I mean, I look at it, I look how easy it is to use. I look how just, what DJI did to improve it over the original Mavic Pro. It's just like, that's a drone. I'm going to be hard pressed to ever sell that. I'll probably actually cry if I have to sell that drone.
Yeah, and Bill, the other thing too that just amazes me, I've flown them all, from the great big Aligns to the Inspires and all the other ones, is how quiet it is.
That's a great point, Paul, because I noticed it about 900 feet away from the back of the house. I could hear the Phantom. I couldn't hear the Mavic 2 Pro until it was about 200 feet from the house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really good. See, I love the Phantom, but all the Mavic stuff has been really exciting too. And one thing that the guy said today, I think it was on those guys on Novice Quad's channel, was he said that in the wind, and when you go behind buildings and things like that, the Phantom wins every time because of its connections and everything else. Would you agree with that or no?
Well, see, they both have now, and the reason that I got the V2.0 Phantom is that it has OcuSync 2.0, and that's the same transmission system that's on the Mavic 2 Pro. So with the older Phantoms, okay, like the regular Phantom 4 Pro, it had the technology is called LightBridge. Now it's real interesting. We had Rick Smith on Drone Therapy last week, and he actually told us that LightBridge actually costs more than OcuSync 2.0. But really? One of the reasons that we found out, which I found out earlier from Rick, is that it hasn't made it down to the smallest platforms, such as like a Mavic Air or the Spark. It physically, right now, the way the electronics are in it, it physically needs a bigger, drone to fit those electronics in it. They can't get that down to size yet. They're still kind of working on that. So that's why we only seen it like in a Mavic 2 right now.
Yeah, and it just to reaffirm what Bill's saying, I had both. Actually, I had all three Inspires, but my 2 Inspire 2s I sold here in the springtime because they had LightBridge. In the LightBridge, I found I'm in an area where there's high radio interference and electronic interference. And as society gets, so everybody's got all kinds of technology on them and all kinds of cellular bubble, and cars now have Wi-Fi and everything else. I love the airframe of the Inspire, but I get out 1,000 feet and it would never lose control, but I'd always lose the video downlink. And and with the OcuSync 2, not a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. So I'm going to ask you another question. So with the accessories seem to come with everything they sell, right? Because it's always upcharges. So with something like the Phantom or the Mavic, what are some of the accessories out there that are kind of you found are must-haves?
That's I was actually thinking about that today and probably doing a video on that. So that's a great question, Val. A lot of people, and I will say this, one of the good things about DJI is what they did with the Mavic 2 series was that they made the Flymore kits or Flymore combos kind of separate from the drone. So you didn't have to do it. I mean, it just, when you got a Flymore kit, it could go to either the Zoom or the Pro. It didn't matter, which was great. The biggest value out of those that I see, okay, I think that case, it's marginal at best that you get with something like that. The biggest value you get a charging hub, which I think is great, but you get the 2 extra batteries with it. That's just, it's golden. I mean, if you price things out as far as batteries are concerned, and Paul knows this, you're paying a lot of money. So those Flymore kits actually in the long run are great. Now, one of the things that I advise doing is obviously, getting a better case than what DJI sends you in that Flymore kit. All right. And you can go out and sell those on eBay and people actually will buy them. I mean, they retail, I think like that Flymore, just the case for the Flymore kit retails for like about $100. So you actually get a good value. Now, one of the things that I've been recommending to people is, I can show it to you, is if you combo the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic 2 Zoom, get it with the smart controller, because you will actually save $200 on the price of the smart controller if you get it with this. Okay, versus it's $649 by itself. But if you buy it as a combo, you only it only costs you $400. So you actually save $249. That's one of the things I've been telling people. If you want to get the smart controller, definitely do it with a combo.
Oh, nice. So with the Spark, is that the same kind of thing with the Spark? Because I know Roger got the Spark, but then he had to get a controller because it didn't come with it.
Well, see, that's the one thing, what they did with the Spark was they made it so affordable because of not having the controller. Okay. They sold the basic Spark, then they sold the Spark with a controller, and then they sold the Spark with a Flymore combo. Okay. Now, when I got the Spark, I got it with a Flymore combo, and it had absolutely everything in it. So, and that's one of the things that I keep telling people is, if you can afford getting that Flymore combo, do it, because you get those extra batteries in there. I know the Spark had a charging hub with that too. Right there, just getting those extra batteries in that charging hub, that pays for that combo, in my opinion. It really does.
Yeah, I like that combo. The look of the combo. Someone had it on. They opened it up. They had the charging. I thought, brilliant.
Well, the great accessory for the Spark is it's that, it's a charging station, I think they call it. And you can have a battery in the Spark, and then you can have, I don't know how many other batteries. I forgot. I don't have it, but I've seen it. I don't know how many other batteries, but you can be charging everything at once. The battery in the Spark, and I think there's 2 or 3 other batteries that you can put in there, or maybe even 4. I'm not sure. But I mean, it was like retailed for about 100, 125. But that was an accessory. That was that's a must-have accessory for a Spark, because those batteries go so quickly. I mean, they boom and they're gone. So the more batteries with that, the better.
Yeah, and it actually was about that thick, and it has its own internal battery, and it also will allow you to plug in your controller and charge it in the field as well.
Yeah, see, that's a win-win-win all the way around.
That just looked wonderful. Let me ask Roger.
Yeah.
Did you get the charging station?
No, I didn't get it. No, I got the 3 charger. The charger charges 3 batteries at home.
Okay.
Yep.
You need to get the other one.
Yeah.
Val will send it to you, Roger. Don't worry.
I have to get all my fun toys. So I had a stampede. I'm sorry. Somebody.
Well, you said toys, Val, and they took off. I'm wondering what.
I know they were thinking there might be some toys to be had. Oh my God. So with the Osmo, I've seen a couple different things. Michael had this really cool thing he held, and it actually had his phone in it. So it was like a monitor, so you could actually see what you were doing. Is that the but it didn't look like it had, I drew on myself, I guess. It didn't look like that part had the external microphone.
No, that's, those are aftermarket, because anything I've seen with that, most of those are like aftermarkets, and I've seen them for sale on eBay. And they're good. I mean, they work really well from what I've seen, but no, they don't, and again, when you plug that stuff in, you hide that external adapter, on the bottom, so you can't plug that external mic adapter in there.
Yeah, Val, here's one that I got on eBay. And what it does is you can also take the handle and you can flip out these and then set it down, and it acts as a tripod too. So
Wow.
They're not that expensive. And the Osmo goes in here, this section, and your phone goes over here plugged in.
Oh, for goodness sake. Hey, Night Yorkshire Drones. Thank you for coming in. If I'm missing you out by saying goodbye when you leave, I'm so sorry. So, okay, but the external mic, that is actually an Osmo product. Is that right, Bill?
Yes. That's an Osmo product.
Okay. Okay, let's get to my list. Well done. Because if I let you go and haven't asked you everything, I'll be really upset.
The only other thing, Val, that you may want to have, and I'm sure Bill knows about this, is the Wi-Fi extender for the Osmo.
What?
And you plug a power supply in the back here, and you put the Osmo, it plugs into here from the base, and you can then link it to your computer and everything else as well, and it extends it. And you can also plug in here, and it also on the bottom has a place where you can put it on a tripod.
You're killing me. Paul, you're killing me.
My problem is, Bill, is every time something comes out new for something I have, I keep buying the darn. And you know where I get these? I get these over at Drone Valley. He comes out with something. I say, yeah, I'm buying that. Yeah, I'm buying that.
Well, we found out. It's interesting you brought Drone Valley up, Rick. He's actually going to be a distributor for the X Dynamics Evolve. I mean, that's kind of like breaking news, but
Wow.
Wow.
that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole evening talking about that drone. But that was really, I mean, he was one of the early adopters. He actually saw them out at CES and talked to them extensively. And yeah, he's very on board with that. He really likes it.
So what is, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What makes you decide what video you're going to put up?
Well, you know, it's a couple of things. All right. I keep my nose in Twitter every day, and I look and see what news is coming up. All right. You know, and I usually have, and I'll call them categories of videos. I'll call now, and you've probably seen in my intros, I have some different intros. One of them, I call them Flightline. Okay. Now those are videos specifically going out. I'm going outside and flying. When you see that flight line coming up there, that's all it's going to be a flight. Okay. Of some way, shape, or form. When you see As the Rotor Turns, okay, and that's kind of a spin-off of the old soap operas, as you know, as the world turns. But when you see As the Rotor Turns, right, that's going to be a news, informational, or tutorial type of video. And people got so confused when I came out with them. Oh, you're going to be starting these other? No, I'm not starting other channels, guys. This is just so you can know when you see that intro coming up that you know what that video is going to be about. Okay, because you know, and a lot of times during the week, now I've already got planned out for this week. I have my part 4 coming up with my with the battle series. You know, I'll call it the battle series, the epic battle series. I have I'm going to be, and what I've done is on my appearances on Saturday morning, I put that together as a video, and people have loved that because that gets exposure for Canadian Drone Hub. That gets exposure for me. That's a win-win. You know, Roger said, go for it. Absolutely. So, you know, so that's something I do. And then, you know, I have my Tuesday nights, and I have to prepare for Tuesday night. Now, you know, and I got to thank my friend Curtis, because he's like, Bill, I don't know how you do that by yourself, because he has a production team that helps him. And he's telling me he's had like 19 people there. And I'm like, oh, wow. I said, you know what?
There's a whole tribe. I didn't know we were supposed to have those.
Yeah. You know, and I don't, my tribe is myself as far as my Tuesday night show, you know. And what I do is if like I have a guest on, I like to get ahead of time, you know, if I'm having Rick Smith on, or if I'm having, like I had Romeo Dersher on from DJI, you know, I send them questions ahead of time. So, you know, I don't shock them with something, you know, and if something's off limits, you know, let me know, send me an email, you know, I'll strike that out. You know, I have plenty of questions to ask you. And, you know, that's never really ever truly been a problem. But, you know, usually what's happening during the week will gear at least one video during that week. But normally I kind of have a set of things that I'm going through. Like I said, you know, I'm probably going to have 2 or 3 more in the Epic Battle series. That's still going. I'm going to finish out the YouTube, you know, how to start a YouTube channel series. That's going to finish up. I got probably 2 more to go with that. You know, and I have some Mavic 2 videos. Now, one of the things that I can tell you, for me, the Mavic 2 videos win all the time, because that's something, people are so engaged with the Mavic 2 series right now. You know, I know at a minimum, you know, for me, one of the things I look at is if that video gets 1,000 views, that's a win for me. All right.
Yes.
And all my videos, with the except, in not my live streams, but all of them have been getting 1,000 views. So, it's putting together that content. And the other thing too is being able to space them out and giving them time to what I call marinate in YouTube. And what I mean by that is, so it gets into their search engine, so it ranks, and so people can get it. Like I'll put out a video, say tonight, and I won't be putting anything out until probably Wednesday after that, because I want that video to get a couple days, and then my live streams come out. Now, one of the things with my live streams is one of the things I kind of look for is if I get from like 450 to 500 views on my live stream, that's a success. And a lot of people are saying, well, you just said about 1,000. I said, well, think about this. Okay. My live streams are about 45 minutes, not quite an hour sometimes. But if I'm getting that many views, that is fantastic, because, you think about it, that would be like what, I don't know how many 5-minute segments of my videos. So that's a huge win for me. So that's kind of how I plan things.
Yeah.
Well,
And
the other thing too, Bill, just real quick, Val. The other thing Bill is too modest to say is he puts a tremendous amount of time and effort to making sure the information he gives is correct. And he's also out there probing all the time to find out the news and information that everybody is on their minds but don't know who to ask. Bill does.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it makes a difference, and you can see the difference in what you're putting out. You can see the difference between, someone who hasn't put time in, right?
We
And
know
that's true with all things. You can always tell. Okay, hold on. What was that bottle you were drinking out of? Let me see. Okay, that's okay.
water. Of course, trust me.
I'm like, what?
Trust me, I need that. Okay, water is down in Florida. It's essential. Trust me.
So you're in Florida now?
Oh yeah, I've been living in Tampa since that's where Valerie's from. And I flew down here, and I left cold, snowy Ohio behind forever.
Missed it?
Well, my kids are there, so that's we're going to be going back up for the blessed event, probably end of June, beginning of July. That's when my daughters do. So.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, Bill, I just can't say enough about grandchildren. What a blessing those little guys are, those little gals, they're blessings for sure. I only have one. I won't say
what will be nice is, and I've heard so many of my friends tell me from high school, say, when you're done and when they start to misbehave, go see your mom, go see your dad.
Right. We're going for a ride. Let's see. Have the Osmo Pro and the Plus for the Zoom. You thinking of a Pocket Pro? Oh, he has the Osmo Pro and the Plus.
The Osmo Plus has the Zoom, and I had one of those. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what he's. Yeah, and yeah, we're thinking there's going to be a Pro version with like that 1-inch sensor, and that's really going to be a game changer on a vlogging camera with a 1-inch sensor. That's really going to steal the show.
And I'm kind of hoping too, Bill, that maybe I like the slimness of it, but guys with the big mitts, if it was just a 1/2 inch a little bigger, kind of like the handle grips on a bicycle, not small like a pencil,
Yeah, and that you made a perfect point there, Paul, because it's just, for me, I'm the same way, because I have those kind of hands, and it's just not quite long enough. It's just it's so frustrating.
But now with Val's hands, they'd be perfect. But us guys, it's like,
that's what I think. That's why I should have one, because it fit me perfect. But when you have that 1-inch, you said sensor?
Yes.
Why is that important? And
well,
I don't sound
just to kind of let you know, it lets in, and try to explain it to you. It lets in more light. Okay, it lets in a bigger field of vision, and the colors are better. It's just, everything is better with the 1-inch sensor on it. That's why so many people make such a big deal about it, because bringing in light is a friend to the camera. A lot of people don't think of it as a friend, that's a great friend of the camera, and how it processes it. I mean, it's almost Sony makes almost all of them, by the way. So, where whatever kind of, camera we're talking about, the 1-inch sensor, Sony is the big maker in these. And I had on Cliff Totten, and I don't know if Paul, you may have heard of him too. I had him on last year a couple of times when we talked about, there was a big deal about the 1-inch sensor not processing all the colors and everything on the Mavic Pro and everything. And he talked about, he actually did an incredible graphic on it and everything. And if you guys want to go back there and check that out, that's great. But one of the things that he said is, you have to realize, that it is incredible technology, to be able to pull in all these different, the more light source that you get, the better with that. And that's the key. And that's why, and obviously, the other thing is, and I think Paul knows about this too, is, they're going to have a lot of vents on it, because it's going to need to be cooled down, because, to process it, it's going to take an incredible processor inside there, and that process is going to generate heat. So there's going to be some type of a cooling system that DJI is going to have to figure out with that to get that to work. But yeah, I don't doubt that for a second that's coming.
And the technology has changed to the point where everybody talks about shutters and shutter speeds. Well, the old mechanical shutters, they didn't need heating and cooling because they weren't electronically working their little tails off, putting that image onto the sensor. It was just open, close, open, close. And so when you go to electronics, that's when the heat starts to build up. The longer you film, the longer you use the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the one thing you don't want to have, though, is venting, is to hear that sound of it venting. If they do anything electronic, it's going to have to be incredibly quiet, I would think. But I don't know what that's what I would.
Just so you know, Val, there is no fan on the Osmo Pocket.
Not now. I'm going to design one for it. Yeah, I know not now there isn't, because you can just stick it out a car window. I'm just saying, I've seen that.
Bill, do you get the feeling that she's still mad at Philly for putting that out the car window?
Maybe, I think so.
I was like, if he breaks us, so help me. Who broke their Spark arm? Oh, that was said quite a while back, Kim. Sorry about that. That was, I didn't, it wasn't Above and Beyond, was it? It was somebody. Oh, was it Rick Hopper? No.
No, somebody said that they did break a Spark arm, but I can count on 3 or 4 fingers anybody I've ever heard of breaking a Spark arm.
Right. So what is the next piece of tech you're going to buy?
That's fantastic. Well, it's going to be, I can tell you this, it's going to be a DJI product. It's going to be a DJI drone. For the cameras, I kind of wait and sit back and let everybody else do the camera thing, but it will be a new drone. Whatever that new drone is, that's something for me. I know like Ron Brown is a good friend of mine. Bill Thomas is a good friend of mine. A lot of these guys get into the toy drones and, looking like at the Hubsan Zeno, the Xiaomi Z8s and everything. And I actually have tried the toy drones, quite a few of them, and I've had quite a few sent to me. But you see how many reviews I've done. I've done one review because I'll tell you what, all the other ones I've had sent to me for one reason or another, they all failed. I mean, they were just, I bought, I had one sent to me from China. It looked good. It has GPS, it had optical flow sensing and everything. I charged the battery up, put the batteries in the controller. I go to fire it up. Nothing happens. I take it apart, do it again, put new batteries in, same thing. It's a brick. A lot of them end up being bricks. I had another one would take off, flip over, take off, flip over. I've had nothing but bad luck with toy drones. I may look at them again, but for me, I mean, it's frustrating because filming a, let's say a DJI or a Parrot or a Autel drone is different than filming a toy drone, because with toy drones, there's more setup involved. You got to get the app, you got to download that from the App Store. It's just the image quality that you get, a lot of people, if you get 720p, you're doing good for a toy drone. And that, it's so frustrating because, a lot of them don't have SD cards and you only get the transmission from your phone. And then you have to go ahead and transfer that over from your phone over to your PC. And it's just, it's a lot of work for these. And, and the guys that do this, I absolutely, my hat's off to them. I know Marcus, Idaho Quadcopter, he does that quite a bit. Ron Braun, he does that a lot. I know another guy, True Drone Reviews, Brian Singleton from Pittsburgh. He does that a lot. My hat's off to these guys. And, they know how to work them. And, I had a bad string of luck. I mean, it just seemed like I had 4 or 5 in a row that nothing. I had to either throw them out or give them away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just decided you're done with toys.
Yeah, for now. Yeah. Unless somebody can get me one that works. Okay. I'm gonna pass on them. I'll look at.
Bill, have you had a Tello?
Yes, I did have a Tello.
And what'd you think of that?
I liked it. I was pretty impressed with how it did in the wind.
It's not what we're used to flying, but I hear good things about it.
Yeah, it's a good very beginner type of drone, and especially if you're looking at just absolutely totally getting in on the ground floor, I think it's fantastic. But anybody with any kind of flying skills, or you'll master it like within a day, and it's like then you're ready for something else after that.
Right. Like a Cessna. What? I wonder how much gas the average engine plane takes, like a Cessna. Oh my gosh. Are you thinking about flying for a ball? Don't fly. Stick to drones. They're safer for you. So do you ever think about flying FPV, flying racing quads, doing that kind of thing? Is that something that you just...
For that, I have to pass on that. And the reason I have to pass on that is, I'm the kind of, I won't call it, that's why I've never done DJI goggles is, my depth perception, image, everything, for me, I'm the kind of guy, I'll probably end up running to the bathroom with something like that. It's just,
right.
It just, with the way my eyes are and balance and things like that. No, I mean, that's the whole reason I don't even consider that.
Bill, I'll tell you a little story. Here in Port Huron, I do a lot of the ship videos.
Right.
And there's a park there, and I saw an older guy about your age, my age, and he had the goggles, and he had the drone, and he took off, and it took off, and he did a loop, and he fell over backwards on his back because he thought he was going over backwards. And I watched him to see if he was all right. And I said, "Are you all right?" He sat up, took the goggles off, says, "Yeah, I guess so." And I'm thinking,
I don't think he'd appreciate us laughing. So I have just a few more things for you, if you don't mind. I want to talk to you about Coast to Coast.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Faithy. Am I saying that right? In Greek civilian.
squirrel.
I know. I'm a little like that, aren't I?
I just said the same thing.
So you're within Coast to Coast,
Right.
and you and Bill and the people on there seem to have great camaraderie.
Yeah, we get, it's a Bill nicknamed us the bucket list boys because we're all in the same age bracket, which is fantastic. And one of the cool things is, when we had Kelly Shores on, and he was on for our show went extended past the normal hour. We started talking things about like music from the 70s, cars from the 70s. And, that was nice. And that's the kind of thing, that we can appreciate, because and everybody knows one of the big secrets that came out from all this. Everybody knows that I was a big Peter Frampton junkie back in the day. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody said, well, you need to catch him, and he's having his last tour because he has like a neuromuscular disease that he's not going to be able to play concerts anymore. So he's going on his last tour right now. So I think he's coming to my area in September. So I think we're definitely going to get there, get a chance to see him.
Oh, fun. Last time I saw him, I was in California, and I was 17 in San Diego. He was
Wow.
there. So yeah. And I went to see him. That's when his album had hit, and it was such a big deal. It was a pleasure to go see him.
Oh, what?
Val, that was in your military brat years, right?
No, it was not. My dad had left the Air Force a long time before then.
Oh.
I was 17. Yeah, but I did that. We did those concerts, right? Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, to name a few of the ones I went to. I mean, you just did that, but Peter Frampton was so enjoyable. It was
I got a real quick story to share. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and they had a concert that was a concert to beat all concerts. They rented out the stadium for the day. The concert started at 10 in the morning, and it was Foghat, Deep Purple, Peter Frampton was there. You name it. Anybody that was part of rock and roll was there that day. It was an incredible show. I was the designated driver that day because I said, you know what? I told these guys, you go do what you want to do, okay? And we're going to meet at this place when the concert's over so we can get to the car, all right? Well, they were so far gone, it wasn't funny. I mean, it was just, I mean, literally. And I told these guys, I mean, I spent $25. And back in the day, back in the 1974, that was a lot of money. Okay. And I said, you know what? If I'm spending $25, I want to enjoy this. All right. You guys can go ahead. You know what? I said, you can go do your partying on the weekends. Okay. Come to this and enjoy the music, guys. Oh yeah. You probably heard one or two songs before you ended up passing out,
right. Or being sick somewhere. Right? It just
yeah. And I'm like, no.
Okay, I'm saying bye to Geekstania. Thank you, Geekstania. Thank you for coming in and being part of this. Yeah, because that was all part of our lives, right? So, so how did you end up on Coast to Coast?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How did you wind up on Coast?
Bill Thomas asked me. And got to be good friends with him. I absolutely love Bill because, his whole thing is he wants to spread the good news of drones. Okay. And that's what I look at Canadian Drone Hub. And, and that's really kind of like the premise of my channel is, I want to spread the good news about drones. I want to make it so, people, want to come, visit, stay, and enjoy themselves. And that's what Bill's whole thing is. And he calls it drone therapy. And the reason he calls it drone therapy is, if you've had a bad day at work, one of the best ways to release that, get your quad out, go fly for 10 or 15 minutes, and it's not about making a video for the channel. It's just going out there and just, getting a release and
soar with the Eagles.
Exactly. I mean, there's nothing beats that, being able to get out for 15, 20 minutes. And it's just like a breath of fresh air when you're doing it.
So what's your doggy's name?
Her name is Diogi. Diogi, come here. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Let's say hi to everybody.
Very sweet. Hi.
Say hi. You good girl? Huh? You good girl? You don't want to come up. Okay.
No, everybody, Dad.
And I got to say this. I have been around I've had personally probably about 4 or 5 dogs. This is the best dog I've ever been around by far, bar none. She is just so good. I mean, I can't say that enough. Best dog I've been around.
So is she a golden retriever?
No, probably had like some lab mix in her. Definitely. And Valerie got her at the pound. She just turned 11 and her health's been good so far. We really enjoy her.
Oh no.
She has 2 different huge beds. Okay. Yeah, she gets spoiled more than I do. Okay, I know the pecking order. Okay, it's Diogi, then it's me. Okay, I said as long as I'm number 2, that's fine in my book.
Well, it could be Bill because Diogi doesn't talk back.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, that's a sweet dog. It's very sweet.
She's very good.
So now, so you do a couple videos a week,
Right.
right? And you do your live show on Tuesday, which is when mine's on too. That's probably why I never get to your live stream. What time do you do yours?
It's at 8 Eastern. It's usually about from 8 to about 8:45.
I'm just saying that mine starts at 7. You can always hit mine and then head over to Bill at 8. Even though I go for 2 hours,
There you go.
sharing. I truly don't. So then you do that, and then is it Wednesday night? Because that's when you were on with Coast to Coast.
Yes, at 8:30 Eastern.
So how much time do you put into this a week?
That is a fantastic question.
Including all your prep and everything.
Yeah, we
And
want all.
I'm going to say at a minimum, it's probably about 24 hours, maybe sometimes up to 30.
Right. And is that including your? It's not including your flying, unless
Right.
you're taping it.
Right. Well, I would say actually, yeah, I would say about 30 would include the flying. It's not the biggest part of the time. The biggest part of the time is sitting in front of Adobe Premiere and doing the editing. That's what takes all. And Paul knows that. I mean, it's just, to get that, to get it to look where you want it right, that takes some time. And then uploading it to YouTube, that's a whole other ball game. It's just
Yes.
you can watch paint dry is better than watching that happen.
Hold on. So Rolling Homestead with Wild Edibles, thank you for coming in. I appreciate seeing you. Hey, JDS, stop caps. Go to the lowercase for me, okay?
Curtis Dart says you need a staff.
Huh?
Curtis Dart said he needs a staff.
We all need staff. Curtis has staff. I mean, that guy is all about staff. I don't know how he did it, how he talked all his friends into doing it. I'm going to start talking to my friends. I need staff. Hey, Paul. So you put in about 30 hours. You're putting in how much for work? 40, 50 hours a week?
Right.
Okay, so now we got you up to about 80 hours, right?
Right.
So
how much sleep do you need?
is that what's happening? Because I'm sure, well, you do everything with your wife, so that gives you that time when you're going and doing all your, because you're sharing your passion. But do you have a lot of time that's not one of those things?
Yeah. Like Sundays, I try to keep Sundays a little more freer than other days of the week, simply because we'll probably, like today, for instance, my in-laws live probably no more than 2 or 3 miles from us. So my wife will go down and help them with cleaning and spend some time and visit with them. And, I was doing some cleaning and laundry today. And then, it was an odd kind of weekend because this was a weekend where we did a bunch of stuff both yesterday and today. And, there was just a lot going on. I was on Curtis's show last night, and I was on Canadian Drone Hub yesterday morning, and I'm on here tonight. So, that took up some time as well too, but, and it's always good, one of the things that I really, I can't get enough of. Now, people, some people say, well, you're out for fame and you're out to pat yourself on the back. And I said, you know what? I'm out to spread, and I call it the gospel of good news about drones. Okay. Because, the more we can get out the message about how good drones are, the better. Okay. That's why I like watching, for instance, Paul's videos. Okay. And his timing, going by the ships and everything, it's impeccable. He does his editing. And I know he spends a lot of time editing because you can tell he puts out quality stuff when you see those ships going by, and it's just like every time I see that, it reminds me, that's a good thing, because, what Paul's doing is, it's commerce, it's business, and it's a good thing, and it's good seeing things like that, and I know some of my friends do a lot of the cinematic videos, which I really enjoy, and those take a lot of time. I did one of the abandoned fishing pier, and that took some time to put together, but I tell you what, it came out to be a great finished product, and I really like it. And then, also talking about, when I had Romeo Dersher on, him talking about getting, how drones now have saved, I don't know, it's like getting up to close to 300 people the past few years. There's so much that's good that comes from drones. And I think anytime I get a chance I use that hashtag drones for good, because there's just so much out there that can happen that are good from drone use.
But you know what, Bill, is unique about several people, including yourself, is you do it selflessly. You're not out here saying, look at me, look at what I do. I'm it. I'm nobody else knows nothing. That's not you. You are an honest, sincere lover of the sport, and you'll do everything you can to make sure everyone else feels the same way.
Thank you, Paul. And you know what? I know, some are in it for, the fame or the glory or anything or this, or for, Google AdSense. And let me tell you guys, when you get to 1,000, you get up and you start getting money from Google, people's eyes are like, oh, wow, wow, wow. But I'll tell you what, unless you have 100,000 subscribers or you're a Casey Neistat, okay, your Google income, it's just, you know what? It's maybe a couple more bags of groceries at the store. All right. That's what that is. I don't do it for that. Okay. Because if I did it for that, that's not going to, what gets me, and the satisfaction that I get is when I'm seeing in the comments, or I get something in my, I got a lot of emails each week to my email address, and I made that public because I don't want, what, a lot of guys hide their email address. I don't. I'm like, it's BillTheDroneReviewer@gmail.com. You have a question, email me. And that's what I tell people. I'll get messages on Facebook on the page, and well, how come you haven't answered? I said, I don't see that as easily as I see my email. I said, so my primary method of contact, I tell people, is to email me. And you know what? I've never stopped answering questions. I get probably 2 or 3 a day. And, I get to them right away. Usually in the evening when I get home from work, I'll answer them. And, I think it's helping to serve the drone community. It's helping people at large, and, and realize something, if you're in it for the money, God bless you. Good luck. I hope you do well, but you're going to be driven by, I'm going to have to put this kind of video on. I'm going to have to do that kind of video. And you know what? For instance, I did a series. They had an FAA symposium, and there's one, and the one's coming up this year in June. I did a series on the results from that symposium. It was like 2 or 3 of them. I got 200-300 views on each one. But you know what? To me, that was helping to get the news out. Okay. That's when they first started talking about flying beyond visual line of sight, and being able to do that on a commercial basis. That was the first time that they did that, and a lot of people, I like to make people aware of things, and it wasn't on anybody's radar. And now, that's one of the things that people are talking about.
I always say, and I'm really honest about this, I am okay with making money on YouTube. I know you are too. There's something to be said when you bring value. But if you don't bring value, you're going to know it pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, you exactly. Yeah, that's a perfect point, Val, because you'll find out in a hurry. Okay, if you're doing something that is bringing value to people and are meaningful, you'll see it in your comments. You'll get emails. You'll get messages on your Facebook groups. You'll find out whether or not that happens. Now, one of the things where I've actually probably done better, as far as like revenue is concerned, believe it or not, is, I'll post, I'm a DJI affiliate, and I don't hide that fact. For example, when I got my Mavic 2 Pro, most of it was paid for by affiliate money that I had earned from DJI. So, nice. That's a win-win. And what I tell people why it's a win-win is, okay, you're buying the products using my link. It's not costing you an extra dime to do that. However, it kicks a few dollars to me, and it helps me be able to buy products like this, like the Mavic 2 Pro, to be able to get in there, to be able to do series of reviews on it and get some tips out there. You know,
Well, you're the kind of guy that if you didn't like it, you wouldn't be doing it.
oh yeah, definitely.
So I think that, yeah, JDS, you kind of lost your mind because I asked you stop the caps and you didn't. So as soon as you guarantee me you're going to stop them, I'll give it to you back. I am so bad to JDS, but he still comes in. You know I love you, JDS, but no more caps. Come on, darling. So so I think that's important. That's something I picked up when I was watching Sean Cannell, and he's my favorite guy. You know, he's my favorite guy. It's he says that if you don't understand what value you're bringing, right, or that people are getting value, your channel's going to really stagnate, and he's right. He's right. I you know, I try to bring value. I'm never sure, you know, if I'm bringing enough value to what I do, but I know Paul is. I mean, I love those ship videos, and I'm starting to watch yours now, and I watch Roger every morning. I have coffee with Roger. There's value in that.
Absolutely. You know, it's, you know, all of us, you know, it takes it's a team. Okay. You know, it takes more than one person to get this message out. And when you're focused on that, people respond in kind. Okay. It's not, there's no magic and one of the things that I saw early on was there's no magic formula to getting subscribers or getting people to watch your videos. Okay. It's going out there, like Sean Cannell says, going out there, you create quality content. It's like putting, you know, you'll attract more flies with honey than vinegar, kind of, you know, like my dad used to say. And it's
Right.
the same thing here. You know, you attract more subscribers and viewers when you put out quality content, and it shows. It really does.
Yeah, yeah. So I've seen your channel, yeah, over the last few times. So when you go and do your other channel, I don't have your other channel. What is your other channel?
It's called Build a Technology Reviewer. It's the
Oh,
same.
okay.
And the logo looks almost exactly the same. And what I did was with the logo, and this is a lot of people, you know, where do you get your graphics? How do you do that? How do you do that? It's easy. I go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com. And, you know, I got that tip from Sean Cannell. He said, you know, my bumper, you know, I got it out there from, you know, what I spend $15, $20 on some things that I can never do. I don't have, you know, it takes a lot of time to be able to do things like that. And these guys can crank them out left and right. And I told them what I wanted for my logo. And I said, you know, with the colors and everything and the letter scheme that you see in Bill, that's the same kind of font that they use for DJI. So that's why the Build a Drone Reviewer, the font on there that you see, that's the same kind of font DJI uses. And I said, you know what? I wanted the Spark and I wanted the Mavic Pro as far as the images were concerned, and boom. Now with a technology reviewer, I have the Mavic Pro, but I also have a smart image of a smartphone up there too on the technology reviewer channel. So, but I'm going to be getting cranking up on that and starting to do some more things on that. And I'm probably looking into doing some podcasting with that as well too, to kind of get that kick started. You know, the whole thing with that was I was kind of geared with smartphones, but smartphones change so much. There's so many people out there with that. I'm going to gear towards other type of technologies as far as technology is concerned, more like maybe computers or other type of things that are still accessible and that I can review, but yet, you know, won't break the bank.
You
Bill,
know,
Bill, I'm looking forward to you expanding more with the spare time that you have. Because
manager, I hear Paul is up for grabs right now.
you touch more people, Bill, than you will ever know.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. You know, I got an email from he's a doctor, and he's been pretty much on board with me since day one. And I told him, I said, I said, the comments that you leave for me, I said, you have no idea what good it does to see your comments, and it's something I can count on almost every video. I see them from him. He's busy. He's an emergency room physician.
Right.
He has a lot going on, but yet he takes time out of his day to leave me a comment. And, that means the world to me, when people like that and saying, I watch you, Bill, because, you put out good content. You're thoughtful. You do your research, pretty much everything Paul was saying here, you do your research, you get it out there, and, and it's in a great understandable format, and it's easily digestible because, he says for him, a 5-minute video is perfect. That's about how much time he has on a break.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're saying now that really the sweet spot for videos, whether people believe it or not, it's right about 10 minutes. And you're right in that ballpark for most of the stuff you do. I think it is. Now, yeah, I think right about there, a little bit more, a little bit less is really good. Because if you're giving good information, I'm going to watch that whole thing, but you're also concise enough that I'm not watching a lot of fluff, which would make me crazy.
Well, see, one of the things that I did on, in my third test with the performance, landing test is I put times of I put the takeoff time and the landing time in there. So you don't have to watch. I mean, it's like a 20-minute video. It's kind of long, but if you want to just watch the landings and takeoffs, I put the times on there so people can do that. And I noticed, my view count jumped up after I did that. So I think, doing things like that actually helps.
Yeah, so hey Wakey, as you're putting everything out now and you're going through your other channel also, see, I just don't know how you do other channels, but if you're going to do a lot on computers, when I went to go buy mine, I couldn't find, everybody just talked about their computer and how great it was, but a lot of their computers weren't so great.
Well, that's a great question because it was back in December was when I started doing all my upgrades, and I had a I'll call it a dinosaur for a laptop. Wasn't really that. It was dinosaur in terms of the way it handled video processing because I needed something to be really beefy. So I did a super. I'm the kind of guy when I'm looking to buy something, I dive into it. I tear things apart. And I ended up getting for the first time. Now I've been an HP computer guy. I bought an Asus, and that was probably the worst computer I've ever had. I'll just say that bar none. But I ended up getting a Dell desktop, and it was customizable. It was set up originally as a gaming configuration, but I got it with an 8 GB graphics card in it. I also got it. It had a 256 solid state drive in it, and a 1 terabyte regular hard drive. What I did was I replaced the 1 terabyte hard drive with an 8 terabyte hard drive in it, a 7,200 RPM. Then I also got and it's interesting, and I didn't know they made these. It was a solid state drive that fits into a drive bay. I had no idea they did that. And that's 512. And then I got a 512 solid state drive and put it on the board. And what that enabled I'm using one of those 512. That's where the operating system is. You have that. Unless you get have experience a solid state drive, it's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I absolutely positively enjoy it. I think it's so cool. And what I did was the other area, the 512, is where I do video processing in. And when I'm done, I move it over to my 8 GB 7200. And the whole thing is with speed. And the other thing that I did too is, my monitor I'm looking at right now, it's like a 27-inch HP. But I also have over here is a 43-inch Samsung television that I use as my second monitor. And I can't tell you
this.
Here, let's take a look.
You are set up.
There it is.
Oh my God.
There it is.
You see?
Val, you have that too, don't you?
Shut up, Paul. Yeah, sure I do. I call it my window. It doesn't project anything, but it's really big.
You have the window on the Windows.
I have an Asus computer, the one you said was terrible, but I bought the Rogue. It's the gaming computer with the vid card and all that. Bought it a couple years ago for about $1,400. And for me, it was perfect. But what's not perfect is that I need something bigger because my eyeballs, I need
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why, and that's why I did do some research. I have a friend. He lives on the Atlantic coast of Florida. Mitch is his name. It's old guy in a drone. He has a show on in the mornings. He's a good guy. I like him. Mitch is a great guy. Really, really like him. Well, he's the one that told me about. He got a 43-inch TV as his monitor, and I did do some research, and I found one, a Samsung, that you had to get one with a certain refresh rate, because if you get ones that don't have this refresh rate, it won't work well with your computer. And I found it, and believe it or not, it was on sale on Black Friday at Best Buy. And my local Best Buy, I got there, they had one, and the guy found it. And I was just, I could not have been more thrilled. And I only ended up paying, it was like on sale, it was like $299. And it's just, it's a steal. I mean, the quality that I get from this is phenomenal. Now, one of the things that, I didn't get HDMI cables. I have what's called, I think they're SSD cables. But because, I'm looking on the back of my video graphics card, and I'm just like, oh, it only has one HDMI, but it has like 4 SDIs on there. So I got those, and the connection between everything is seamless. It's just incredible. It's like I can go onto my big one. I'll put Adobe Premiere when I'm doing my video editing. It's just like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It really is. I can't say enough about it.
I got the same thing, Bill.
It really helps, Roger. It really does.
I got
So
the same.
TVs can work as this.
As a monitor, sure. Yes,
Does
Val.
Because they're fairly cheap now.
Well, you want to make sure they got good refresh rate, like Bill's saying. But yes, cheap. I mean, back in the days, to get a 42-inch monitor like Bill's talking about, you had to spend a couple $1,000s a few years ago. Now you can pick them up fairly reasonable.
Oh, those cables are DVI. My friend Ari from Remote Pilots in Australia, he's right. Yeah, it only with a fast refresh rate. Curtis, yeah, it's a fast refresh rate. You have that. And it's just like, in the way Windows automatically detects it, and I can go from one screen to the next and transfer things over, and it's just, I can't say enough about it.
I'm gonna go back, and if I miss this, I'm so sorry. How do you know it has a good refresh rate?
You have to look at the specs.
You look at the specs on it, or walk into it.
Guide that I found online. And I saved it as a link in my email. I mean, if that's something anybody would be interested in, let me know and I'll send it to them. But there was a tremendous guide, and that's how I found this Samsung. And lo and behold, it was on sale on Black Friday. Believe it or not, I got really lucked out.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, I have 2 TVs. I don't really watch, but I let my roommate have one in his room. And then in my room, I don't have one. There's one in the living room. But I was thinking, I don't really watch TV. So, and it's like 40 inches. I thought maybe, but I'm not sure refresh rate would be. Oh, look, 120 hertz refresh rates, guys.
It could be. I'd have to look up the specs again. I'm not 100% sure.
So, yeah, you know what, Bill? I'm going to have you again, because the information you give is the information I can't find.
Well,
I'll be
Bill,
happy to be on anytime, Val. You just tell me, you just give me a date and a time, and I'll be there.
Bill has a wealth of information. He's like an untapped resource. And the great thing about Bill is it's free flowing. You just ask,
Yeah.
Want to put in a plug, not really a plug, but if you can remember my wife Val and your thoughts and prayers and well wishes and positive thoughts. She's having surgery on Friday. It's an outpatient surgery. It's gallbladder hernia, and they're gonna drain a cyst on her liver. If you could remember her in your thoughts and prayers and well wishes, I would greatly appreciate that, guys.
We will certainly, Bill.
Thank you.
You know, yes, she'll be in my prayers for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate that a lot.
So, Bill, you are amazing. I know, guys, Bill, we were just going to do a 1-hour interview tonight, and I just had too many questions, and Paul had questions. But I so appreciate you hanging out with us.
Not a problem. It was enjoyable. I had a great, anytime I hang out with you guys, it's a good time. I end up with a smile on my face. My wife said, "You had a good time?" And I said, "Look at my face." So, all the time.
And the thing of it is, Bill, is when you're with community, when you're with friends and you're talking, time just flies.
Oh, it does. It really does. What my only regret is that I wish some of us were closer, proximity wise to get together to fly, because, it's like, I heard somebody say this, and this was one of the best things I've heard in such a long time. It's just like, it doesn't matter, race, creed, religion, any of that kind of stuff. If you see somebody that has something with 4 props on top of it, okay, you're their friend immediately. There's no, it cuts through everything.
Yep.
It really does.
At that point, it's just on.
It's like a universal bridge, Bill.
It really is.
Everything.
It really is.
So, guys, you want to take time to say goodbye to people in the chat? Because, guys, I love you in the chat. You've been so stellar for being here, and I appreciate it. Because, there's so much information in my head now. I am so excited because now I have a better direction in what some of the stuff I'm doing. But, Bill, would you like to talk to anybody?
Sure. Remote Pilots Australia, Ari, thank you for showing up tonight. John DiNardo, thank you for coming in. Who else did I see here? Mike Roach Studios. Mike, your videos are just knocking me for a loop, my friend. Keep up the great work. That Sopranos one was just stellar. I just can't say enough about that. And everybody else that was on here tonight that I saw, Above and Beyond Global Drones, Furball Kim, Philly Drone Life, thanks for coming tonight. Cooking with a Little Spice. Everybody, thank you guys all for showing up tonight. We really appreciate it.
Bill, the only question I have is, I told Mike Roche tonight, I don't know if you know Mike real well, but he's handicapped. He had a spinal injury.
Yes.
Okay. And he flies DJI. And he's designed his own control links and everything so he can do it. Don't you think that DJI would be interested in a guy like him so that he could promote saying to people that have disabilities, hey, if I can do it, you can do it.
Well, that's a great point, Paul. I think I did bring that up with DJI. I said, I do have several subscribers who are handicapped. Have you given consideration to doing things to helping them to fly? Well, Curtis had on, and I'm going to say probably not last week, but 2 weeks ago, Scott Parazynski. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. He's a former astronaut, and he developed that. And I forget the name. If Curtis is still here, maybe he could throw it in there.
Somewhere.
Yeah, Curtis is still in here. Developed the name of a all-in-one controller for the drone, and it looks like the old kind of controller that you saw back when you had Flight Simulator kind of a thing. It's a one kind of a joystick. FT Aviator. Thank you, Curtis. FT Aviator is what it is, and Scott's company put it together. And Scott is an incredible person. As Curtis had pointed out, he did probably one of the most dangerous spacewalks ever in history. But he's just like a regular kind of guy. And, he took the time to get this incredible piece of technology together. And that FT Aviator is going to do fantastic. I think I've got my name in a list to try to get one to test, because, I would love to not only test it, but then, I know Mike. I also know Art from Arco Drone Solutions, who, who's handicapped as well. And I have 2 or 3 others that are handicapped as well, who something like this would be absolutely perfect for.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a segment of the community that I think really people need to go out and touch, because everybody thinks about their life as being tough. And and harsh at times, but the release we get flying, I can't imagine what it's like for a handicapped person to be able to go out and do the same.
Well, I put together a little fundraiser for Art after I saw his other video on what he does to get outside to fly his Phantom 3. I had tears running down my cheeks, guys. I mean, it really it just touched me how, he has to get up the stairs and get out there and take everything out. Well, we raised enough money to not only, we bought him I bought him a wheeled case for his Phantom 3, and also he has a Mavic Air to make it very easy for him to something that's portable but has the newer technology with the 4K camera, made it very easy for him. And he was so appreciative of that. And he's a great guy. I think he's very close to getting 500 subs. So check out Artco Drone Solutions, everybody, if you haven't done that so already. Great channel.
Check out Aerial Views and Histories, what he just wrote there.
New drone news. Drone spotted outside of the 5-kilometer exclusion drone outside of Gatwick Airport in UK, below 400 feet. 3 flights diverted. No near misses. Headline news, apparently.
Dang. That's
having trouble.
Yeah.
Well, you know what happened last time when it wasn't real.
Yes.
Now we're gonna be living on this for a while.
Bill, it was great having you in here, and I'm sure everybody on the live chat just adore and love everything you do. Please keep doing it, my friend.
I will.
You make a difference.
Thank you, Paul. And all you guys, and I have to tell Val, Paul, Roger, everybody, Canadian Drone Hub, everybody, on Val's channel here, you guys make a difference as well. Okay. You every day you're out there, and I keep calling it the gospel, but you keep spreading the good news about drones, so, and I tell my friends, sit back, grab a cup of coffee and jump on in the morning and enjoy it, because, it's just some good folks talking about my favorite subject, quadcopters.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you, Bill. And don't forget next Saturday, Bill. Oh yeah, it's true. You might not be there next Saturday, right?
Well, I'll probably be on. It probably won't be very long, but I'm sure my Val's going to be needing help getting in and out of bed with that hernia surgery, because I went through that 2 years ago, and I told her, I said it's not fun.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the door's always open anyway on Saturday.
Thank you, Roger. I greatly appreciate those opportunities.
Okay.
So guys, thank you so much. I love you all, you know it. And I appreciate you coming in. Everybody, just thank you so much. Okay. We'll see you.